Hi, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the Mike and Joe podcast. This is my co-host Mike. I'm Joe. Nice to talk to you guys. Okay, so we're gonna start off the podcast by talking some review of the standings, like what we're seeing so far. I think the thing that sticks out to me right when I go and look at the standings is the Sacramento Kings, top three seed right now. What has them there right now, Mike?
So the Kings are very interesting this year. They have been very prolific on offense. They have one of the best. I think they have the best scoring offense in the NBA right now, and they're definitely up there just in terms of other offensive categories. And they just have a really solid starting lineup, and they have two star players, but a really star player in De'Aaron Fox, who leads the NBA in clutch points, and that's allowed them to win a lot of close games. They get down to the wire, and it's crazy because they started the year. I don't remember what their exact record was, but in their first 10 games, they were under 500, lost a couple close games, and then they just kept winning, are still in third. They could even be more wins had they started the year a little stronger, but their offense has been great. Their defense is not as good, which is why I could see them slipping in in the last third of the season. I could see some of these other more experienced teams start to pass them, like the Clippers or now the Suns. But they've done really well to be in the spot they're in, and I think they should be proud of themselves. And I think they'll stay in the top. They could stay in the top six by the end of the year. So
I'm actually I'm thinking the same thing on the Kings staying in the top six seeds. I think the big thing is the addition of Mike Brown.
oh
Coming
yeah,
from the Warriors,
oh yeah.
he kind of bounced around the league for a while. It just was, and nobody was ever sure if he was going to be a head coach again. Stays with the Warriors for a while, definitely a couple years. And this offseason, you hear Mike Brown's going to go to the Sacramento Kings, and it's just kind of like, okay, well, we'll see how long this goes for. And he's got him as a playoff team now, and we finally have a big two in Sacramento with a good supporting cast, and it seems like there's a pretty good outlook for the rest of the season.
Mike Brown definitely brought an energy that the team has needed for what? How long is their playoff drought? 17 years, something like that, or 20
Something
years? I don't
ridiculous.
remember.
I've never seen the Kings I've never watched the Kings playoff game in my life.
Yeah, that's
Give me a reference. Give you a reference for my age.
yeah, but you will this spring. You'll get to. So
Right.
at least we hope.
No,
They
absolutely.
could still fall out, but they're looking good.
Another thing, I don't understand how year in and year out the West manages to stay this close to each other. It just seems like it's every year. We have 20 games left. Seed 1 and Seed 10 has 4 games of separation, and you just never know how it's going to unfold. You kind of have this idea, and it almost does unfold the way you think it's going to, but it's so fun. There's always so much possibility towards the end of the
It's
year in the West.
it's true. This year especially has been because it's down all the way to the 13 seed. Is because the Lakers are in the 13 seed and they very much still have a chance to get back and play in contention. So this is one of the crazier years. I don't really know why it's been the case this year because I think it's just sort of been circumstantial. Some of these teams have had little droughts where you'd think maybe the Suns would have been winning, then they had a rough spot where they were losing. Kind of the same with the Clippers; they've just been inconsistent. It's been a weird year. Yeah, the Warriors had championship hangover that has just stayed. So it's been a very, very strange year. The Oklahoma City Thunder and the Utah Jazz played better than they were supposed to so far. So it's definitely been a weird year. Much opposite from the East, where it's been almost what we'd expect in terms of the way the standings go.
Yeah, it's just every year. It's this polar opposite. The East, just the East just cannot hang with the West year in and year out. And I don't know what it is. It just seems like there's more teams really going all in to compete in the West. Just if you just look at the teams from 1 seed through 10, every single one of those GMs, every single one of those organizations have made winning moves. And it's just from the top down, and I just don't understand what's so much different about the East. But I mean, we can even go back to like when LeBron was there. He just ran the East, and nobody else was ever going to win. And now at least we have some level of parity in the East now. But even then, it's kind of you still got your top three teams, and those are the top three teams.
And I think that's the biggest part of it is the East just has three solid top teams. The Celtics, Bucks, and Sixers now for 5 or so years have been up there in the standings just because, Giannis, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Chris Middleton, they have all those good guys, good core, good coaching staffs. And the West this year has just been a gauntlet. They keep just destroying each other's record because they'll beat one team, then they'll lose to someone else. This has definitely been one of the most fun years to just be a casual standings watcher. I imagine if you don't keep up daily, you just check one week. It's like, the Clippers are in the 4 seed right now. Oh, wait, the Clippers are the 10 seed? They're back to the 4. It's like this. It's crazy. It really is crazy. It's I don't know how I feel about the play-in tournament long term, but so far the last couple of years I've enjoyed it. I kind of like seeing these teams go for it that wouldn't normally go for the 10 seed because they'd normally be like, we're way out because you have to get top 8. But now you got teams, you have the ability to have the Lakers at the 13th seed still be in it to make it. It's kind of fun.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like one huge issue with the NBA playoffs is that first round is just it's kind of hard to watch sometimes. You get 2, 3 good series usually. The rest you kind of just know they're just a wash. But you get those play-in games, and it's just like it feels like the wild card in baseball, or something to that effect, like a playoff game in football where it's do or die. You have to win that game or you go home. It's so interesting. As far as I know, I don't think the 10 seed has made it yet. Has actually made it into the playoffs,
I
but
don't think so either.
there's still that anticipation that it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And all the teams, it's like it doesn't feel like you're doing that much of a disservice to the 7 or 8 seed because typically they're getting swept anyways in the first round. You're like, you might as well just give somebody else a shot here for just essentially the intrigue of it all.
I agree because especially in a year like this year with both conferences down in the 7 to 10s, they're all pretty close. So any of those teams theoretically should have a shot at getting to that 7 seed. I would hate to be a fan of a team that is the 8 seed that doesn't make it. I think that's happened each of the last 2 years. But that would suck. But at the same time, it's kind of cool because that 9 seed was probably right there. I don't know. I could see both sides of it because I think last year the Pelicans made the playoffs with a much worse record than the Clippers. So there's two sides to it. But this year it seems pretty important based on the conferences. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's talk about a team we do not expect to be in the play-in games. The Phoenix Suns. They got Kevin Durant, and they gave the Nets a massive haul for him. Definitely not an even trade. Didn't get an all-star sent back, but it's pretty cool. The Nets actually seem like they have a lot to build around. They seem to have somewhat of a bright future after this whole Big Three fiasco that took place. But what are you thinking about the Suns now? They just got Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton. That's a big 4 right there.
Yeah, the Suns, I'd say the only reason that they maybe aren't the favorite to come out of the West is just because of how good the Denver Nuggets have been and the fact that the Denver Nuggets are the 1 seed right now. But the Phoenix Suns have kind of been rolling recently, even before they got KD, and even after the trade happened, I think they still won a few games. So they're looking pretty good. And if you can get Kevin Durant to come back with Devin Booker, I don't really know how you stop the scoring at that point, especially when you have Chris Paul passing them the ball. I don't know. It could take him a little bit of time to adjust, but Kevin Durant's one of those players that I don't think it takes him much time to adjust to any system.
Seamless fit.
You just sort of throw him in there, and he'll get you 30, and you'll start winning. So, yeah, I think. But now that he's there, it's finals or bust. If anything less than that, I think is a failure. Even Western Conference Finals, you have Kevin Durant. You're not playing for anything less than. It's the same as LeBron, any of those other guys. They're trying to win the whole thing. They're not satisfied with a Western Conference Finals appearance and then losing to whoever the Nuggets. So, but I give him a very good chance. I'm excited. I still can't believe the trade happened. I'm in disbelief.
I can't either. I it just this whole if it seemed like if it was going to happen, it would have happened this summer. KD wanted out. It seemed like there was going to be a reason to get them out. Like, okay, let's just do away with it all. We already got rid of Harden. Let's just blow this up now. And for some reason, they decided to wait till the middle of the season. They just must not have had an offer like this on the table yet. It must have just been a lot worse. I am going to say the Suns are the best team in basketball right now. I think one cool thing about the league that has happened over the last couple of years is we transitioned away from super teams at least a little bit. So when you're looking at teams around the league, you're not seeing big threes anymore. You're seeing usually big twos. Two solid stars, a superstar hopefully, and then just great team building around them. It seems to be the way teams are going about it now. The Suns have a big four. I'm not sure that anybody at this point even has a big three. So that to me, there's just too much talent. I mean, you can go back and look in 2017. Everybody's like, oh, the Warriors traded so much for Kevin Durant. They have no cap space. How are they going to build a bench? What are they going to do when the playoffs come around? They have no guys giving them solid rotation minutes. And it just seems like you add Kevin Durant, it'll work itself out.
That's a good point. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say they're the best team in the league, in my opinion, yet. I don't know if I can throw them over the Celtics or the maybe even the Bucks yet. But I mean, that's just because I haven't even they haven't even all played together. The Suns are still good, and Kevin Durant hasn't played yet, so it's going to be a scary sight for sure. I'm excited to see it.
Now, I absolutely look forward to seeing how that team is all how it's all going to come together. Like what those like who's going to get the ball at the end of the game? Like how are they going to draw up those plays? Like how are they all going to fit in together? I know I was just talking about how Kevin Durant obviously is going to be able to fit into any system, but that's there's only one basketball. There's only one basketball, and I'm just curious to see. It seems like Aiton is probably gonna have to take even more of a step back, unfortunately, because I don't see Devin Booker doing that. So
Oh, I don't think Kevin Durant would want Devin Booker to do that. I think
probably not.
he wants them both to go there and average 25 plus. He wants another running mate like he just kind of had, but he wants a new one now, I guess.
So one thing that stuck out to me right now when looking at the standings was the Timberwolves seem to be just exactly where they were last year, fighting for a play-in spot after they traded 4 firsts for Rudy Gobert. I'm just I'm just so confused as to why they made the trade. It was so clear that when you have to run, when you're running your defense where everybody's just completely sending everybody in to Gobert. Once you hit playoff time, once you play against teams that can match up against that and go 5 out, you're just screwed. And they traded away their entire future for this super weird Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, big man hybrid. I get it. You have Anthony Edwards. You want to make a play for long term. You have Anthony Edwards. You have Karl Anthony Towns. This is supposed to be working. But how is just taking away all the spacing on the floor the idea?
Yeah, I don't get it either. It didn't. I don't know anyone who thought that trade was a good idea. I don't really know what direction they're trying to go in now either because they traded away D'Angelo Russell and I believe they got Mike Conley out of it.
Just doesn't make just
I
that
don't
makes
know
no
if Mike
sense. Makes
Conley
no
is gonna,
sense.
yeah, take them over anywhere that D'Angelo Russell couldn't have taken them. So I don't know. I think the Timberwolves are in for a strange next few years. It's going to be weird to see what happens with Cat. I don't remember what his deal is like right now. I can't remember if he's in the middle of a. I think he's in the middle of a supermax right now. Ant is going to need to get paid. So, but is he going to want to get paid there? I don't know. He wants to win, I'm sure, and I don't know if they're going to be winning anytime soon. But yeah, it was just a strange decision from the get-go to go for Gobert when he had just been exposed in the playoffs a few years in a row. So
Absolutely. Yeah, Carl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards are there for the long term unless they were to
Okay.
force a trade. I'm pretty sure Carl Anthony Towns Supermax doesn't actually start until this next season.
Oh wow.
So,
That's good for them.
yeah, it's a
Actually,
4 year Supermax. So, say what you want, at least they have the pieces there to try to build around. It does seem like there is a world where they can figure this out a little bit because they are a talented team. They are a talented team for sure. Um, yeah.
they've done well to stay in the mix. I would say, especially with injuries, because I don't even know if Cat is playing right now. So they've done well.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either. So like the Lakers in the trade that Minnesota just made. So like you were saying, they got D'Angelo Russell. They also got Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt. Right now, the in the standings, they're not looking great. But as we were just talking about, it's so close that they're just a handful of games out of the play-in, handful of games out of being ahead of the play-in.
Look, I
Are
could.
they going to be able to get it done? There's not that many games left. It all season it's been. Are they going to get it done? Are they going to get it done? They haven't, but then they make this trade. Is it going to work out?
Look, I could go off about the Lakers for a while. They've been very frustrating this year. I think that they will. LeBron said himself that these next 23 games are some of the most important regular season games of his career. And I mean, I really think they are. They did not do well before the All Star break. They needed to win some games, and they lost them. Luckily, they got the last win to go out in a good note, but they could be much closer to 500 than they are right now. Uh, it's going to be, I think, the most important games are going to be the first three games out of the All Star break for them. They play the Warriors, the Mavericks, and the Grizzlies. All solid teams in the West. And that's going to be the most important time because everyone should be back. Everyone should be playing. D'Angelo Russell will be there. LeBron will be there. Anthony Davis will be there. They've got everyone. They can try out all their pieces. They can hopefully get some quality wins against some quality teams. And if they lose two even of those, they're at 34 losses. They can't afford to be losing. They need to win. But I think they will. I think Anthony Davis is going to come back, and I think he wants to win. I think LeBron wants to win. I think they can get some good wins, and I think they'll make it.
It's going to be a sour taste in everybody's mouth if this season is just the season LeBron got the scoring record.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that's amazing, but when you end the season just missing the playoffs, like imagine if the Lakers are the 11 seed or below, like they don't even make the play-in. That's that's so hard to wrap my head around when you look at the caliber of talent that they have compared to the other four teams in the bottom of the barrel with them. Um,
Yeah, it's bad.
they
They've
finally seem to have fixed their spacing problem a little bit though, which I don't know what the Lakers have been doing ever since LeBron got there. They they seem to be taking every single strategy but give LeBron 3 and D guys, which has seemed to have worked for him earlier in his career. So I don't know why you want to stop now. They did get that win with Davis and Howard kind of being the two big guys and running a different kind of lineup. It was a bubble. It was a weird year. I don't want to take any credit from them. That was obviously an awesome championship. They played a great series against the Heat. They deserved the win, but I don't know. It's just it's like finally the Lakers make this trade and get some shooters around LeBron. And that is to me why they are going to be able to get over the hump and they're going to make the play in. I don't think I don't want to spoil anything too much as far as predictions go. I think they'll make the play in. I don't know if they're going to end up playing actual series.
okay.
But
I'm back.
I have very high hopes for the Lakers.
I kind of was gone there for a second, but I am back now.
I know I tried to talk for a really long time. I don't know if you heard what I was saying.
Oh, I heard a lot of it when you were talking about the Lakers, but then I cut out just a second ago. But yeah, no, I agree. They do have much more spacing now. That should help them, and I think it'll let them get the wins they need to make the plan.
Well, you finally get rid of this weird Russell Westbrook experiment that they just kind of decided to do. I will say I don't completely blame them. In a way, I do understand them doing the trade. There was just nothing. There was nothing. They had no options. They were like, let's just try. Let's just try.
They but there was something. Buddy
Buddy
Hield was
Hield, yeah,
something.
Buddy Hield. You're right.
Like I don't know. I don't know if that's better or worse. Would that make them contenders last year? I don't. Probably not. But it was disappointing, at least for me, because I was very excited for them to get Buddy, and then next thing you know, they got Westbrook, and I was like, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. But yeah, I mean, he's on the Clippers now, and I think, at least for him, he doesn't have to move. He can just
Yeah, no,
stay there.
no, absolutely. That was honestly a really surprising signing to me in a way. I kept seeing a lot of reports basically saying, "Oh, it doesn't look like anybody's going to want Russ. Who's going to want Russell Westbrook?" And right now, one of the main contenders in the West said, "We'll take him."
Yeah, I wanted Miami
That's
to get
crazy
him.
to me. Oh wow, did you want him to start for Miami?
Either way, Kyle Lowry has not been great this year. He's also been injured a lot this year, so there, the Heat were connected to Russ. I thought Russ still played well this year on the Lakers, so I was like, if the Heat could take him, I would love that. But I had to settle for Kevin Love and Cody Zeller and hope that that's enough for the Heat to make it in the East. I don't know if it will be, but it's.
I honestly though, don't you kind of like the? I thought the Kevin Love signing was good,
Oh,
personally.
I
I
liked
mean,
it. I mean, there not many other moves to make after trade deadlines passed. So when I saw that he was available and the Heat were connected to Kevin Love, I was like, that would be wonderful to just have him
no,
have the
absolutely.
option. So
I'm confused though. What do you know about that buyout? The Cavs are obviously really good, and it seems like the Heat are basically signing Kevin Love for the exact same reason it seems like the Cavaliers would have kept him. A great veteran off the bench, great
I'll be honest,
spacing.
I don't
He's
really
been there for
know
a long
either. I
time. I don't.
haven't watched enough Cavs games to maybe see if he's just not fitting their scheme or something. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's tired of being the old guy around all the young guys. I don't really know if I'm being honest. It
Yeah,
seems
there
like
could be a lot of reasons he could have asked.
yeah, it seems like he should be good and helpful on the Cavs, and he's been playing, but I don't know. I guess it wasn't working out.
Well, speaking of the Cavaliers, they let Kevin Love go. They are currently one of the top seeds in the East. Are they legit? Are the Cavs here to stay right now? This is 2 years in a row. They're having a pretty good season.
Yeah, I know I just said that I haven't really watched the Cavs much this year, but I believe watched two games, and one of them was a few weeks ago. They look really good. It was when they were playing the Grizzlies, I think. They look really good. They have a very good defense. I think they're one of the like a top 5 defensive team. Oh, they're first in opponents' points per game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I think one of the things they were missing last year was they had Darius Garland, they had Jared Allen, they had all-stars, but now they need someone who's almost on that superstar level. And I would say Donovan Mitchell, he's averaging 27 this year. He's scored 50 in the playoffs. He's at least on the cusp of superstar level. And I think he could definitely push them to beat a team that maybe they aren't supposed to in the playoffs and make the conference finals. They could totally do it.
The only thing that's really been holding Donovan Mitchell back at all is just his efficiency. Outside of that, he's been incredible. And this season, what did he do? He upped his efficiency a lot. The I don't. I'm thinking the Cavaliers are legit. I don't know. I don't know if I think they're legit enough to be one of the top 3 in the East, but I absolutely think they are legit enough at this point to be kind of the locked-in number 4 spot in the East until further notice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be picking them to beat the Sixers, Celtics, or Bucks. But I think if they did, it wouldn't be that surprising. Maybe, I guess. Well,
I think
a little
I think the
surprising.
Celtics would be the really really surprising
yeah,
one for
it'd
me.
be pretty
The
surprising if they
the
beat them.
Bucks I could see the 76ers I could
I
actually
don't
like
know.
really
The
see.
Bucks have been Giannis
No,
has
they
been on
have.
one this year, and Middleton's been hurt,
They haven't
so he
lost
hasn't
in a
been playing.
minute. They haven't lost in a minute.
So
No, that's true. They're so it's everything's so stacked at the top in the East. It's crazy. Those teams are ridiculous.
the way it looks right now, in my opinion, I'd be surprised if a team from the East that wasn't the Celtics or Bucks made the finals, even if it was the Sixers. If the Sixers made it, I'd be like they deserved it because they had to beat at least one of the Celtics or Bucks probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go as far as to say I would be somewhat shocked if the 76ers made it, but it would be really cool. James Harden, Joel Embiid,
Mm.
that combo, like just like see them get going in the playoffs. Like, I mean, they'd have to play really well to take down. Because like the thing about the Bucks and the Celtics, they're so deep. Like not to say the 76ers don't have a good bench, but the Bucks and the 76ers are deep.
Oh yeah.
They're 10 guys. They're 10 guys deep.
Hmm. Yeah, Peyton Pritchard wanted to trade from the team because he wants a bigger role on a different team, and he didn't get one. So now he's still stuck riding the bench. But he said, I'm gonna go play. But it's just crazy. That's how good they are. He could probably go get a good spot in some, not as good team.
Oh, absolutely. And he played really well in the playoffs last year.
Oh, and I would like to say that I'm not, even though I said the Celtics and Bucks might make it, I'm still rooting for the Heat, and the Heat are going to win the championship, so it's fine. But, I'm just...
Way to stay unbiased, Mike.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. Okay, so next, that's kind of all I have for pre-All-Star game stuff. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Let's see if there's anything... let me see if there's any last comments. Looking at the standings, the Brooklyn Nets are currently the 5 seed in the East, and even though they made those trades, I think most people would imagine they could slip. I could see them staying in the top 6 somehow. Mikal Bridges and Cam Thomas are both good enough to help them win games, and they have a sizable enough chunk over at least the 8 seed that I don't see them slipping anywhere. They'd have to do pretty bad to fall out of play-in contention. The play-in in the East isn't great. The Heat have been not amazing. The Knicks, but the Hawks, Wizards, Raptors, Bulls, all kind of just floating in that mid area right now, and none of them, I think, are going out of there anytime soon. Yeah, and then the West, we kind of talked about most of the teams there. So
yeah, with all due respect to the Nets, and I did say that they do seem to have really solid building blocks for the future. If you just go and look at that roster top to bottom, it does seem like they will find themselves in the playoff or in the play-in.
The play-in. Yeah, maybe
The play-in. They're probably around that 7-8 slot. They are still a good team, but
fine by me.
The Knicks, I trust the Knicks more than I trust the Nets right now. Jalen Brunson is awesome. They seem to be coming to their own a little bit. They won 3 straight before the All-Star break. When you look at the Heat right now, they have been amazing in clutch time. They're just not doing it when it matters on the other times. Yeah. Essentially, if they can get the game close, they'll probably win it, but that seemed to be somewhat of a problem. But the Heat are right in it. I'm not picking the Nets to stay above the Heat. As far as everybody else in that conference goes, though, the Nets are just as good. Mm-hmm. They might not have a star like the Hawks, Wizards, and Raptors have, but as far as just the team from top to bottom, it's just as good.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so we're gonna just kind of get into the All-Star weekend. We were both able to catch all of it except for the skills challenge, but I don't think many people caught the skills challenge. If I'm going to be honest.
I was wrong. I did see the skills challenge.
You did?
I didn't see Rising Star challenge.
The Rising Stars challenge. Okay, well, I didn't see the skills challenge at all. So was there anything you saw from it that was interesting? Anything stick out to you?
It was pretty cool. Do you remember how it's worked the last couple of years? They had 3 teams. There was the Jazz team because it's in Utah. There was Team Antetokounmpo. And then Team Rooks, and then which was Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith, and Jaden Ivey, I think. They do pretty good at getting solid teams for this. The events aren't that cool. It's like a passing drill, a shooting drill, and they all did horrible on the shooting.
That's hilarious.
But it's cool that they keep it fresh by changing it every couple years, and I do like that. It wasn't boring to watch, but it wasn't the most exciting, I would say.
Yeah, I just feel like it's that the NBA All Star Game and the NFL All Star Game, just right now they can't compete with the MLB. Both it
Yeah,
seems like both like All Star games, All Star weekends, however you want to categorize those, they're just kind of falling off. That the NFL took drastic measures to try to fix that problem, but the NBA like this was the worst, just kind of like All Star weekend I feel like I've seen in general. Although it was really cool to see Dame win the 3 point contest.
that was cool. The 3 point contest. Yeah, what I noticed about a lot of these events this weekend was that they were all just fine. Nothing spectacular about Utah All Star Weekend. The
Hmm.
3 point contest was pretty cool. The three guys that made the finals kind of did way better than everyone else that was in the competition. And then Dame won it, but it wasn't some crazy win. And when I say crazy, I just mean he didn't win it being the last person on his last ball or something like that.
Hmm.
He won it. It was cool. Dunk contest that was awesome.
Yes, it
I think
was.
a lot of people have talked about that. Mac McClung. I think from the first dunk, it was almost settled. Trey Murphy had some cool dunks too, but Mac McClung just set the vibe right away. It was like, oh wow, he's here to win it. These other guys, they got paychecks from the NBA game. This guy's played 2 NBA games. He wants to win this trophy, and he came to win it. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
if it does feel wild to make this comparison because you're kind of throwing out was probably the second best dunk contest participant ever. Well, maybe probably I don't know. You can kind of put Vince, Aaron Gordon, Zach Levine, however you want to do that. He just seemed to have that same thing Zach Levine does, where it's like he can give you like he can just feel like he's floating in the air, and it's almost like a slow motion, and then he could just give you that boom, just
Yeah,
that violence in a dunk, and I think it's the blend of those two, because nothing he did I didn't think was that different necessarily. It didn't feel like it was so unique compared to like anything we had seen before. He just did everything he did so much better
it's true.
than pretty much anybody is able to do it. Even like the simple dunks that he did, he was mixing in really cool little things. Like, I didn't even know till like the replay when he hit it off the backboard
That one was
and then
so
put it
cool. He jumped over people, hit it off the backboard. That's crazy.
and dunked it backwards and dunked it backwards.
Yeah.
That was the
Oh
craziest part
yeah.
to me. He
That is
dunked it
true.
backwards.
That is crazy.
He, I really I agreed with Steph when Steph tweeted that he like injected life back into the dunk contest. I am genuinely excited at the thought of watching Mac McClung do the dunk contest next year and to see if there's anybody that wants to take the crown from. Please, please.
We need Zion. We need Zion. Especially because last year's was so bad. I forgot how
Oh
bad
yeah.
last year's was
Yes.
until people were talking about it. They barely made any dunks. This time, for the most part, everyone was making their dunks first try, and that's what you want to see. You want to see first try dunks because that's the biggest hype. Because then you next time if they miss, then you know it's coming, and it's oh he's gonna windmill it. So then he windmills it, and it's like that's cool.
Yeah,
But
dude.
we
Seriously,
want
I
to see
couldn't put it
going
any
first try.
better.
Yeah. So
Oh,
and that's what Mac
absolutely.
did. Mac made them all the first try. So that's how you get 50s.
Dude, I can't. Oh, except for Lisa Leslie, I can't. I cannot
Yeah.
believe that happened.
That
Like,
was crazy. I couldn't believe that.
oh my gosh, she's not gonna
Oh my
get. She doesn't seem like she's getting memed like D Wade was though.
no, no.
Oh man, D Wade had it coming for a while there. Okay, so we have an amazing dunk contest. Maybe not amazing in the sense that it was close, but amazing in the sense that we got to see some really cool dunks.
We did.
Mac McClung. I've known about Mac McClung forever because
Oh
he was
yeah.
famous during high school for his
Yeah.
dunks. It
Yeah,
was
it
cool. It
was.
kind of just seemed like it came full circle.
Yeah, that was it was cool to see. Yeah, since he's been a high school phenom back in the day to winning the dunk contest. That's crazy.
No,
That is crazy.
absolutely. But yeah, and then we after that, it's just all downhill from there. Well, I don't want to say that because the pregame stuff for the All-Star game I thought was really cool. I thought it was all really well done. It was fun. It was enjoyable. I really loved the interview they did with LeBron and Coach K. If you haven't seen it
I
yet,
still haven't seen it.
I
I
would
need to go watch
actually
it.
go back and recommend watching it. They put like video clips behind the interview and
Oh,
everything, and it was just it was so cool. It was so cool. I'm not even like a LeBron like a I'm not even a super LeBron stan or anything, but like yeah, even I was tearing up just watching that. It's just how cool it is. Um, yeah, and then just you have after that, it just feels like the game just couldn't get started. It was like now we have this, now we have this, now we have the player interest, now we have this, now it's a concert. It just it said on said on Bleacher Report the game was going to start at 4:30, and literally the game didn't tip off till like 5:50. They
Yeah,
just filling so much time with so much stuff. Like what they could have done. Okay, I guess. Okay, I guess I don't know how the players feel about this, but they could have had the draft, and then they could have given the player their. I don't exactly know what the word for it would be, but when they're giving them their announcements, like giving them their platform. All right, and Tyrese Halliburton out of Indiana Pacers. Like when they get to do that, they should just do that after they get drafted, because they just did
hmm
so much filler, and then they were kind of doing that when they would get drafted anyways. So I don't know. It just felt like so much filler time before a game that started. It was the worst All Star game I've ever seen, bar none.
yeah. I That's actually a good idea. I saw a lot of people talk about that. They were saying, how do you expect these players to come to? They warm up, but then they go backstage, then they get announced, but then they go away. Then they bring the captains out. Then they bring the players back out. Then you get picked, but then you go sit down again. Then there's a concert. It's like okay, well now we got to play a game. Now at that point, if I were a player, I'd probably be like, I don't even like I'm ready to go home. I don't even want to play at this point because you're not playing a real game. You're just going to go out there and chuck up shots because that's just. And it didn't seem like they knew how it worked. It seemed like they all forgot that at the end of the quarter, you're supposed to be playing harder because whoever wins that quarter, that team's charity wins the money. But it didn't matter. The last minute, they would just keep hucking up the shots, not even trying.
Yeah, it was weird. Did you notice how the announcers kept saying
Saying
that?
it?
Do they know? Do they know they're supposed to be trying here at the end? That 3 point really matters. You need to get a stop here. Oh, are we gonna play some defense? Are we gonna play some defense? Like, it never happened. It seems like in most All Star games with this format, I'm not. What has it been going for? Was this the third year or the fourth year they've
Of
done it this way?
the draft?
No, where you play the quarters. You play the quarters
Oh,
out, and then at the end of the game they do a target score.
third, I think.
I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but we got that target score at the end of the game, and it was really close. And you got to
Yeah.
see the best players in the world actually trying against each other, which it's the whole spectacle of this. It's like, oh my gosh, this might sound somewhat ignorant, but it's just like it's basketball. Like you're already playing 82 of these games. Like you could try hard for a quarter, half a quarter, just so everybody gets to see what it's like for all the best players in the world. But then again, you bring up the concert thing. Everything's taking so long. You go and sit for so long. It's like all these guys are cold. Like they don't want to hurt themselves or a freaking All-Star game.
Well, did you see? So the only time I'm pretty sure anyone played any defense in the first quarter was LeBron. He went up and tried to block SGA, and SGA is pissed about it. He after he
No,
had
I
this-
didn't actually.
Yeah, he was like, no one's playing defense the whole game. The one time I go get a dunk, he blocks me. Nah, I got something for him next time. That's what he said.
That's funny. That's actually sick though. I got
They play
something
each
for
other-
him next
yeah,
time.
they play each other in like 2 weeks, I think. So
Oh man, that's gonna be hype. I
Yeah.
did really like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum going back and forth.
yeah, that was cool. That was like
It was
the
literally the
close-
coolest part.
Yeah, that was the closest we got to something cool happening though. But it was like for a second, and then it was over. And it was like, all right.
I think we got two. I think we got Jalen going at Jason, and we got Jason going at Jalen. And we got to basically just. And then oh my gosh, and then Jaylen Brown got forced to do a shot clock violation. Could you imagine how embarrassing that is, dude?
That was pretty funny. Yeah.
You're like, oh, you want the rock at the end of the game? Nah, you remember what happened at the All-Star game? Coach ball me. Like, Jason Tatum's not. He's not letting that live down.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they do something again because that target score should help. But the problem this year was that one team was already 15 points ahead of the other, so they were gonna hit that target score first, unless the other team started playing defense and playing hard, but no one was. So I don't know. This was one of probably the least interesting All-Star game to watch that I've ever watched. At least last year, Curry had 50, but his 50 was crazy because every three it was like, whoa, what? There's Curry.
No, it was.
I didn't even realize Tatum was going off just because everyone was shooting threes. And then, granted, no, when Tatum did go hard one quarter, he had almost 20 points in a quarter. So
But yeah, it was pretty cool once he got into the 40s, and then yeah, he just never stopped missing. Really, the whole
It was
night it was
cool.
cool. He's got the most beautiful shot I've ever seen, to be honest. Jason Tatum. Oh man. All right. So that's All Star game. That was All Star weekend. So from here on out, we got people racing to get those seeds in the playoffs. Everybody going for the top seed. Obviously, the West, everything is super close. The Eastern Conference, we got a little. We do actually have some wiggle room, but it's only just a couple teams competing for those first three spots. Basically, those first four spots, and then you have this chunk right beneath them, and they're all from 5 to 10. Everybody's kind of competing. The Magic are out. The Pacers are almost out. The Bulls are almost out too. It's almost like we're already solidified in a
I
way.
mean, the
I mean,
Bulls are in. They're only 2 games out of playoffs.
no, the Bulls definitely could be in the same situation with the
Yeah.
Pacers. Yeah, I would actually say I'd probably prefer to see the Bulls and the Pacers over the Hawks and the Wizards make it in, but that is just me. I thought the Hawks were gonna be super good after that the one year when they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and it just seems like they've been middle of the road ever since.
Yeah, I've never been super high on the Hawks. Even after they got DeJounte Murray, I was like, I don't know if that'll be enough. At least not enough to beat, the three-headed giant at the top. That's for sure. And I mean, even last year, Miami, when Miami was, actually good at basketball, they kind of dismantled the Hawks a little bit in the playoffs. I think it might have gone 6, so dismantle's a little rough. But in the games the Heat won, they really held Trey to very bad shooting. So I don't know. They've still got some work to do. The Hawks. They've been one of the legit most mid teams this year. I think they've been 500 a bunch. They just keep winning and losing. They're good enough to make the play-in. I don't think they'll fall out, but I don't see them doing anything even maybe next year. They need some like major growth. And Trae Young's been good too, so I don't know where the growth needs to be. He can't start averaging 35 and 15 because that's not going to happen. He's already averaging 27 and 10, so
Yeah, I can't ask for much more on a Trey Young's end, but I don't think it's a Trey Young problem. So, all right, so we're gonna get into our playoff predictions. We're gonna start with the West, if that's okay with you, Mike.
yeah.
All right, you are more than welcome to lead us off here with who you got as your number one seed.
I kept the Denver Nuggets. I decided to leave them there because they've got a pretty good hold on it at the moment. It would take a lot for them to. The Grizzlies could get it theoretically, but they've played so well. Their offense is so good. They're not going to start losing games suddenly. They might have a 3-time MVP by the end of this year. So, not only that, a back-to-back-to-back MVP at that. So, I think they'll hold on to the 1 seed.
I feel the same way. They would have to lose. I don't even know if they would even go down if they lost 6. They'd have to lose 6 out of 24, with the other teams below them winning all these games.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
I'm not
no,
even
no.
100% sure if they lose all 6 if that puts them behind. If that puts them in second, they might have to lose 7.
Wow.
There's just too much that has to go wrong for the Nuggets to drop from the 1 seed. Yeah, I'm gonna give them the credit. I'm gonna say they're gonna stay there. But you got it too, Mike.
I put, I'm looking at the standings now. I don't know how realistic it is. I put Phoenix.
Phoenix. Okay.
I put Phoenix too.
Is that just
Okay.
just essentially banking on the talent there?
Yeah, they've been
The-
winning. They've been winning again after losing in January. And hopefully the health is back. Devin Booker's back. Chris Paul's back, and then you'll get KD. So I just think it'll be tough, but I'm kind of banking on the Grizzlies not winning as much. That's what I'm.
So I have the Grizzlies at the 2 seed. I'm staying there. They were an amazing regular season team last year. I don't see any reason they're going to start losing games. I mean, for what you have, this is just a masterfully put together roster in every way. You basically just bringing back the exact same team. Just everybody's improved since last year.
I mean,
Um,
and they lost 10 games in a row already this year, and they stayed in the second seed.
yeah.
So,
No, yeah, they're awesome. They really are awesome. They play so hard every game. I don't see the Grizzlies dropping out of the 2 seed. They actually also have some wriggle room, but yeah, when you're talking this many games left, 3 does not hold as much weight as 6 does by any means.
Hmm.
But I'm sticking with the top 2 seeds staying where they are right now.
That's probably the more realistic option. For my 3 seed, I put the Clippers.
Okay.
I just, they're the 4 right now, so I'll even throw the 3-4 at you. I put Clippers 3, Grizzlies 4, so that's where I had the Grizzlies falling. More so on the Clippers and Suns winning games to end the year, and Grizzlies maybe losing a few and then catching. So
That's cool. We actually seem to have a pretty big disparity in our seats.
I like that.
I
I mean,
I
that's
have
how it
them.
should be.
No, yeah, I have that. Well, especially with the frickin' West. Hopefully, shit has some different opinions. So I got the Mavericks at 3 and the Kings at 4.
Mm,
I don't know. The Mavericks are always usually pretty good in their regular season, and like the team is obviously Luka, one of the best players in the NBA, one of the best players in the world. But outside of that, the team around him is never that great. Now you just gave him Kyrie Irving. Kyrie
true.
Irving, at least now, wants to be there, and yeah, they're built. They're just absolutely built for the regular season. They score so many points.
It's true.
I don't see them slowing down at all. I think they're gonna end up at the 3 seed, and then I got the Kings at the 4 seed. I got I think the Kings. I just it seems weird to play for, but I just feel like the Kings have a lot more to play for than the Clippers and the Suns do right now. I think the Kings are still trying to make a name for themselves, and they're not just completely locked in on playoffs. We are they're no they're not they're not just completely like locked in on like, oh, we have to win the chip. Like they're trying to build something. They're trying to build a foundation here. I don't think they're going to take their foot off the gas. They are scoring a lot of points. And then De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, it seems like that's a team that they're going to be able to keep it rolling.
Hmm. I actually think that is a good point. One thing I didn't take into consideration when thinking about this is I didn't really think about how. I know that people say this doesn't really happen, but the teams at the top kind of do need to think about which teams are going to be in the play-in because that's who they're going to play.
Hmm.
Whoever's going to be that 1 or 2 seed, and those teams that they might play could be the Warriors and the Lakers. So maybe those Clippers and Suns could. I don't think the
That's
players are going to think
fair.
that, but
That's
the
fair.
the management might be like, "Oh, Kawhi, your wrist hurts. Oh, you don't need to play. We're going to need you in the playoffs. Oh, so what? We might stay in the 4 seed. It's like that way we don't need to play because maybe they'd rather play the Kings and like I don't know.
No,
It's weird
exactly.
thinking. So
Well, yeah, I think the
for
Clippers, their biggest issue is just they're not. They need to go into the playoffs like completely healthy. That is what the Clippers need to focus on and get their new guys acclimated. But
and it could happen. But we'll see. We'll definitely see.
all right, you want to give me your 5-6?
Yep, my 5-6. It was your 3-4. It's the King. Well, it was the Kings and Mavericks.
Okay.
So I think opposite order, but Kings and Mavericks was my 5-6.
All right, I have Clippers Suns as my 5-6. I think that
We have all the
I
same
honestly
teams, I think, for our top
yeah
six.
I might have taken a little bit too much stock in just not thinking they have a ton to play for here in the regular season. They're not going to be able to get one of those top seeds. Odds are. So just fighting for the 3 or 4 over the 5 or 6 just doesn't seem like a battle the Clippers and Suns are going to be trying to fight. The Suns also they need to keep their big 4 nice and rested because that's pretty much the majority of what they have right now and what they're going to
Hmm.
be relying on to win games and win series in the playoffs is just riding on the back of that big 4. Yeah, the Clippers at 5, the Suns at 6. I would say those are the main reasons. I think the Clippers are just a little bit deeper than the Suns right now. It's nothing more than that.
I agree. Clippers are one of the deepest teams in the NBA, I would say.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it is kind of crazy going and looking at what the Suns have right now on the bench, like what they kind of what they gave up to get Kevin. It
Hmm.
totally makes sense, but yeah, I mean, basically relying on Damian Lee and Bismack Biyombo to be your main guys off the bench.
That is kind of a lot to ask for.
Yeah. So, what do you just want to give me both of your matchups for the play-in, and then
Yeah,
kind of
so
and maybe even say how you see those unfolding, and then I'll just kind of do the same for the East. I'll let you take
yeah,
this
so it
one.
looks like so I just want to confirm again. The way the play-in work, 7 and 8 play each other, and then 9 and 10 play each other, and then
Yep.
lose. Okay, so the way I have it, I have 7 and 8 is Warriors Pelicans, and if that were the case, assuming both teams are even healthy, Steph and Zion back, I think the Warriors will win that because it's the Warriors, it's Steph, it's the championship core. I don't think they'll lose to the Pelicans. My 9-10 would be 9 Lakers and 10 Timberwolves. So I would have, I guess, Blazers, Thunder, and Jazz all missing. And I'm going to take the Lakers over the Timberwolves there. Personally, just we've talked earlier about all the weaknesses of the Timberwolves. And even though they're capable of beating the Lakers, you're talking about one game with LeBron James in it that he really wants to win. So I'm going to bet on LeBron.
Absolutely, and with Anthony Davis, I think that at least in some ways you'd be able to take advantage of that 5 out on offense.
Mm-hmm.
You know Anthony Davis wants to be out on the 3-point line, so he's not gonna have a problem with it.
It's true. It's true. And then I'll finish it off with my other one. And then I guess that would be a Lakers Pelicans game, and that would be a
Yeah,
great
that
playing
one.
game for the 8 seed. But I will take the Lakers winning that. Still, I mean, I'm for the same reasons before. I could see them losing to the Pelicans more because the Pelicans obviously have Zion, Brandon Ingram. They have a good big man to match up against Anthony Davis and Valanciunas, but I'll take the new look Lakers to be the 8 seed.
Yeah, we actually have the exact same 4 teams, just in different order. I got T-Wolves, Warriors. I'm gonna take Warriors in that. Pelicans, Lakers, 9-10. Oh man, I would. It'd be really sad. It would be really sad, but I would almost probably take the Pelicans if
But
they have a healthy Zion. I really really like that. I really like that squad
it's
against
Zion.
the
I get it.
Lakers. Yeah, could you imagine the Lakers claw their way all the way back at the very end, they're like the 10 seed, and then they lose in the play-in.
That
Like
would
that would
suck.
just. Oh, that would be crazy. But yeah, they have no other option. They're gonna have to win some play-in games to make it. Yeah, that's what I got for the West. Anything you want to add on that?
Not really. It is. I'm surprised that we both had the Jazz, Thunder, and Blazers all missing it. Neither of us put any of them in because any one of them could make it, and it's feasible that they could make it over some of the teams we put in. But I don't know. They just seem like the teams least likely to me for some reason.
Yeah, I think we might just be giving too much credit to LeBron.
We definitely are. I mean, if
I
if we're
think
being
that might be what's
realistic,
happening.
we probably could take the Lakers out of our things, but I we're
Yeah, it just seems
I'm
like the
hoping.
the Lakers finally did what they needed to do: get LeBron some shooting, get LeBron some spacing. Things are going to work itself out. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to fix their defensive woes that they've had because it seems like any game that they're in, like they just can't stop the other team from scoring. It's like anytime they get in a run, it's like they'll get a bucket, other team gets a bucket. They'll get a bucket, other team gets a bucket. They'll miss, other team makes it, and it's just like they just can't get stops. They can't
Which
get
is
stops.
interesting because they were supposed to be a solid defensive team this year. That's what Ham was supposed to come in and do.
Exactly,
And they
exactly.
started the year kind of doing that, but then they learned how to score and forgot how to defend. It's been a weird year for the Lakers. It's strange.
It has been. I'm honestly just kind of I'm just like really glad they're putting the whole Russell Westbrook kind of fiasco behind them because it seems like things started to get weird towards the end. But
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad it's over too. Even though I was getting excited this year because they would start doing well, they would start doing bad again, then they would blame Russ, and obviously Russ was just tired of it. But it's good that it's over, and that
absolutely,
we can move on to new storylines.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, so for the Eastern Conference predictions, I'm gonna take it here. I think I'm gonna take the Celtics to hang on here. I personally think the Celtics are easily the best team, or like okay, easily is a strong word to use. I think that they are the best team in the East.
Yeah, I
They were already so good. They were in the finals last year, and they added Malcolm Brogdon and then a stretch five and Mike Muscala, who's been playing really good this year. I mean, he's not going to be giving them crazy minutes, but for where he's at in the rotation, he's kind of exactly what they need. They're awesome. The Celtics are just awesome.
I agree. I also had the Boston Celtics one. Honestly, I'll just say I had my first four are the way the four are right now: Boston, Milwaukee, Sixers, Cavs.
Just flip 3 and 4 for me.
Okay, you put Cavs 3, Sixers 4.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, I did. The Cavs have been like one of the best clutch time teams.
Yeah, Boston. I would have agreed with you about Boston being like bar none the best team if Milwaukee hadn't just gone on such a insane. What are they on, a 10-game win streak?
Yeah.
They're right behind them in the standings. So I would put them two as like a 1A 1B situation, because if once the Bucks get Middleton back, they went 7 games last year with the Bucks. Those two teams did, and Middleton didn't even play. So I see it coming down to that. That's why I keep seeing it coming down to them again. They just seem like the two best teams in the East this year.
Well, the Celtics just own the 76ers. They've
That's
owned
true.
them for years now.
It's true. It'll be a fun playoff time.
I think I just like look at the championship last year, and the only reason the Celtics, I mean, to me, like, as weird as it sounds, is like I'm a Warriors fan. I love the Warriors. I wanted the Warriors to win, but it's almost like it somehow felt like the Celtics were, in theory, a better team. Like they
I would
just
agree with that.
they were just suffering from experience, and
Mhm.
now they have that. I honestly I don't even know if the Celtics care whether they get the 1 seed or not, but they're just amazing. The Celtics are an amazing team. I wouldn't be surprised if they won the title this year. Not at
Yeah,
all.
I think they had the best offense for a little while until I don't know. There's a couple of different ways. People over All-Star Weekend kept talking about how the Nuggets have the best offense right now. They don't in terms of just points per game, but I think they're still up there. But the Celtics, yeah, they just score so well with an elite defense. They have everything that a true contender should have. They've got a superstar. They've kind of got two, because Jaylen Brown is also that guy, but he's not that guy enough that, that's why Jason Tatum's their number one.
Oh yeah.
But it'll be very interesting to come down to. For my 5 and 6 in the East, I put the Heat and the Knicks.
Same.
All right, nice. It's just seemed to make the most sense. Both had the Nets slipping, losing out in the roster. Well, then I guess we'll get into the 7 through 10. I had Nets would play the Hawks as the 7-8 for me, and the Raptors would play the Wizards as the 9-10.
Okay, so we're a little different on that one. So I got the Nets playing the Raptors, and then I have the Hawks playing the Pacers.
Ooh.
I'm a little bit biased, so I really like Tyrese Halliburton. I think that team is good enough, like and well put together well enough for them to be able to make a run to try to make it in. I really like that Pacers team that they're building here.
They definitely could. Neither of us had Chicago, interestingly enough. But
No, I don't know. The Chicago just seems like if they were gonna be good, they'd be good.
that's what I thought. I was surprised at the beginning of the year when they weren't doing as well as last year. And now it's just stopped surprising me because they haven't started doing better. So, and I don't know. I don't see that changing. DeMar DeRozan's good. Zach LaVine's
And Lonzo's
good,
hurt.
but
Yeah, like
Lonzo's
it's
been
it's- Oh my gosh, Lonzo would be like one of the most disappointing things ever for me. I wanted Lonzo to be good so bad.
I know. I just hope he comes back and actually plays sometime. But I didn't actually say what my matchup outcomes would be. So for the Nets Hawks, I'd probably, maybe for mine, I'd probably go Hawks on that. Surprisingly enough, just they have Trae Young. Raptors Wizards, that's kind of a crapshoot. I'll just go. I'll say Raptors. No, I won't. I'll say Wizards because I want the Wizards. I think it'd be cooler if they won. And then Wizards Nets. You know what? Mikal Bridges would go off, and the Nets would win and get that 8 seed to get smacked by Boston.
Okay,
That's what I
okay.
think.
I gotta. I would. I'm gonna have the Raptors beating the Nets. I think the Raptors are just an awesome team. They're really well put together. They're a good defensive team, and I think they got just the squad to take the 7 seed. And then I would have the Nets playing the. I'm gonna take the Hawks too. I'm just gonna take the superstar and Trey Young here, kind of to win this situation here. So yeah, I'll take the Hawks over the Nets. So yeah, I would have the Raptors and the Hawks as my final 2 seeds going in for the actual series.
God, I'm very excited to just have games start again and hopefully not be depressed by watching the Lakers and Heat lose. That's what I don't want to have happen. Just like get out of All-Star break, have them both go on a 3-game losing streak, and just be like, oh God. Then what do I do? Then who do I become a fan of? Huh? Do I hop on the bandwagon of some West team and buy a Kyrie Mavs jersey just for him to leave in the off season?
That's a scary team to bandwagon. That's a scary team to bandwagon. You could just be like Team Luca though. You could
Yeah,
do
that's true.
that.
That's true. But no, I'm very excited. I am definitely going to try and watch a little more than I have been.
Yeah. So I guess that's pretty much all we have as far as the segments go. So I think what Mike Dog said would be a good segue into just talking about why we wanted to do the podcast. I've done some podcast stuff, radio show stuff, however you want to term it. That was a couple years back, and I was really into it. I was pretty much all into sports. Everything was good, and as of late, it's really been a lot more heavier on the football side of things. Haven't been watching basketball as much, and Mike asked me if I'd wanted to sit down and do a podcast, and I was pretty honest. I haven't been watching as much as I'd like to. Maybe not as knowledgeable as I was at one point, but I think we both just kind of want to sit down, talk hoops, and just it'd be fun.
I wholeheartedly agree. That's the biggest thing. I've been watching a lot, or maybe not watching. I've been watching some basketball and paying heavy attention to the NBA, and my girlfriend's tired of hearing about it. So I need to tell someone that isn't her, so she stops getting annoyed with me. So I hit up Joe. I was like, hey, let's talk about the NBA once a week. Uh, and then there are other reasons too. I've said this to you at least. I want to speak better. Get used to maybe seeing myself on camera. There are some practical reasons to do this as well as just the fun of it. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. I think I think just talking about being a better speaker is one really like interesting thing that I never even considered. I'll go back and I'll like look at some of like the articles that I read. Me, Nate, and Nick, we kind of like did something in high school. See, it was like this page we made, and I was like going back and looking at the article. I was like, I wrote that. Like what? There's no way I wrote that. It was just like perfect. I do have a feeling Nate might have edited it a little bit, but I was like, I can't believe I wrote that. That's crazy. Oh yeah,
Wow,
just
that's
upping the
awesome.
vocabulary, talking once a week. It'll be really cool to get back in the rhythm of it. Just getting these notes down, kind of coming up with ideas. Now we got a baseline. We did it. We did it. We did it. We got through one.
I think it'll give us checkpoints along the season too, because with NFL it's really easy. Each week is that week. There's only one
Hmm.
game per team. Theoretically, the NBA could be like that. You could call this week whatever this is the NBA, but no one does. And
Dead
the
week
games just sort of
probably almost.
yeah. The games just sort of the flow. Like there's no week 20 or anything like that.
Hmm.
But each week we'll I think get a benchmark. We'll watch our games. Be like, oh yeah, that week this happened. That week this happened. I don't know exactly what that'll feel like, but at the end of the season for this last third, that might be kind of cool. So
It's just really cool too to kind of write down these predictions, and then now you get to look at them. You get to see how you did. You
it's
see
true.
how you have your matchups playing out and everything, and you're gonna be able
We
to
get
see
to
if
see
you're
how
right or not.
wrong we are.
Yeah,
True. We get to see
I feel like we're looking
when,
pretty good on the. Feel like we're looking pretty good on the East, but the West, I don't know.
yeah, the West. Like I said, the Pelicans were higher earlier, and then now they're in the middle of the pack. A little bit ago, they were the 11 seed. So anything can happen. The Kings could fall out of it. They won't. At least I don't think so. But
I don't think
they
so. I
could.
hope not. I really hope not for their sake.
Yeah, it's possible that they could, but I don't think they will. They're only. It just takes one, 6-game losing streak, which is possible.
Yeah, especially in the West, you could
Yeah.
just be right out of it, just like that. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for watching the Mike and Joe podcast. Podcast should be releasing at least on Spotify and other platforms. Mike, you got any final words?
Yeah, no final words. We're gonna try and come up with a better name.
Yes, we are. Yes,
This is
we
not a
we
bad
will.
name.
We're not going to try. We will.
Yes, we will come up with a better name, but for now, the Mike and Joe.
All right. Thanks, guys.